Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is a rainy day here in North Louisiana. It's thundering and lightning, but I'm sick and tired of being in the shop. I want to come out here and talk to you guys. We're right behind the woodshed. And before we get going, I want to encourage you to come to the Red Peel in Iowa. The link will be in the description below. And after that get together, we're going to be going to Vegas. I think if you use the link, it's like 90 bucks. The ticket's pretty cheap. I know not everybody can afford it. I get it. If you'd rather buy a piece of gold or silver, I'll encourage you to do that. But if you want to hang out with like-minded individuals, we will be there. Now, the first story today is the Panama Canal is hit with draft restrictions. Okay, the second story is about the ports. It goes from the ports all the way down to the UPS. It's like the shipping apocalypse is coming. Now, I don't want to make this hyperbole. I don't want to make it more than it is. But remember, anything goes in the Thunderdome. Anything post 2020 is a free-for-all. Ooh, it's a big one. So, check this out. Panama Canal hit with draft restrictions. Shippers have three options. We'll get into those in a minute. But this is because of the severe water crisis that's going on in the Panama Canal. Some of the largest vessels in the world had to comply with these new restrictions. 5% below average is where the water levels are now. And the forecast, they're expecting a drop to be 8% by August. And I thought, when I read that, I thought, wow, that doesn't seem like a big deal. But it is. The average draft needed for the largest vessels to sail is 50 feet. But since then, the May draft restrictions have been enforced on vessels to maintain 44.5 feet, which will likely be reduced to 43 feet. As a result, this would reduce the cargo from some of the world's largest ships that travel between Asia and the U.S. Gulf Coast. Everything's made over in Asia. And now it's going to cost more to haul less goods. Now the three ways they're going to try to handle this is they're going to deploy more ships with the same amount of cargo. You know, they're just going to divvy up more cargo on more ships, less cargo on more ships. The second would be to reroute through the Suez Canal. It's a longer route. It's about 15% more time on the water. The last option, even though it looks unlikely, because not only is they're having problems with the canal, they're having problems at the California ports. The third option is to go through the U.S. West Coast ports and intermodal. The last option, however, looks less certain, given the uncertainty around the labor tensions at the USWC, U.S. West Coast. Now, the canal draft restrictions fell to 44 feet in the summer of 2019 without causing major supply disruptions, but with El Nino, I've heard many people call it a super El Nino, this could lead to temporary higher rates on Pacific and perhaps some long-haul Latin American trades. Now, moving on to the ports. Now, these unions are wanting more money, and they're playing tricks. I'm not going to get into that too much. I'll give you one, for instance, in just a second. Ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has reached out to bonehead Biden and his commies Friday to warning premeditated and disruptive service actions that are slowing operations at several major West Coast ports during ongoing negotiations. This is a quote. "We urge our administration to intervene immediately and appoint an independent mediator to help the two parties reach an agreement that prevents significant economic harm to American families and the economy." Now, we all know when I say they, I mean Biden and all the people that comes with that pile, are going to make the wrong decision. They do this on every single topic they approach. So let me know what you think in the comments. How could they make the situation worse? Because that's probably what they'll do. Now, here's the for instance, and it doesn't say what they're arguing too much about, But the PMA and ILWU, which is International Longshore and Warehouse Union, are fighting. The ILWU declined to dispatch lashers who secure cargo for trans-Pacific voyages, which caused those vessels laden with U.S. exports to sit idle at the docks and unable to depart. So they're making life kind of miserable. Actions at the ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Oakland slowed down operations at those ports from June 2 to June 7. Despite what we're hearing from PMA, West Coast ports are open. Somebody asked me in the comments if they were closed. They are open as we continue to work under our expired collective bargaining agreement. So the ports are open, but they didn't want to run their ships there. It could get worse. We'll see. Now, this is probably the biggest story out of all of them. The UPS could strike. It could be the biggest strike in U.S. history. The Teamsters Union is holding a vote right now with 330,000 members to authorize a strike against UPS. FedEx and U.S. Postal Service will not be able to make up the difference. They cannot take the load. UPS is simply too big. Better hurry. It's raining, my papers are stuck together. Now, UPS delivers about 17 million domestic packages every day. Now, they're demanding the new contract closes the gap in pay between some different classes of workers, better working conditions, air conditioning in its delivery trucks. I don't know why they do not have air conditioner in their trucks. That makes absolutely no sense to me. And significantly higher overall pay for the company, whose profits have nearly doubled in the last 5 years. Now, this is where it gets interesting to me, because over the last 5 years, shipping has gone nuts, but now we're starting to see a little decline. People are stopping discretionary spending. They're not buying as much. So, we're starting to see the pullback, and they're saying, hey, we're pulling back. It's not like it used to be. We could have done it back then, but we didn't, and now we're pulling back. How many times have you asked for a raise and they say, oh, well, we just can't do it right now. We're not doing as good as we were. O'Brien represents the Teamsters, said the two sides have already reached tentative agreements on 24 issues. We have made a lot of progress at the table, which is encouraging, but a number of major issues has yet to be agreed upon. When you get into the meat and potatoes of wages and benefits, things can get very dicey. O'Brien said in the union is prepared to strike unless it wins significant increases in wages and benefits and also improvement in work conditions. And the major demand, the one thing they really want bad, and I think they should already have, is air conditioning in their 95,000 UPS trucks. So they want to retrofit air conditioners on the trucks. Should have spent a little more money on the front end and bought them with air conditioners already in them. That would have been the thing to do. So far only offered is fans, which is insufficient. If UPS does not give us what they know we need and want, they will be striking theirself. They're dug in. I don't see them giving up on the AC thing. But in the first quarter revenue, this year is down 6%, and its operating profit fell 22%. People are slowing down. They're not shipping as much. O'Brien said they weren't rewarded as UPS made record profits. He has vowed to make UPS pay Teamsters members for far more this time. They have a $300 million strike fund in the union. So why not? Why wouldn't they strike? They're set. They're sitting on a pile of cash. They can strike for a long time. If a deal is reached, but a majority vote against it, there will still be a strike this time. UPS has to worry not only about losing customers in negotiations, dragging and talking of strike increases, it also likely to see pressure on its stock price, which is down already 18%. Now, Thomas Goldsby, he's warning. He said, in other words, brace yourself for a supply chain breakdown. I guess 2.0. Those who have come to rely on doorstep deliveries for basic stuff may have to rethink weekly schedules. Excess overtime needs to be addressed. The union wants to eliminate a contract provision that created two separate hierarchies of work and different pay scales. So they want to eliminate, that's a big one. I know when they really get in a bind, they hire contract. I see people pulling up, in an old worn out U-Haul van, driving all the way around my property. Looks like they don't know where they're going or what they're doing. They want to get away from that, and that's really tying their hands. So we'll see how that works out. A win at UPS could have implications for the organized labor outside the company. Teamsters are attempting to organize Amazon workers and dozens of other delivery drivers and dispatchers in California that joined the union last month. Now check out the people that are joining unions. Campaigns at Apple, Starbucks, Trader Joe's, and even strip clubs in Los Angeles. This has just huge implications for the entire labor movement in the United States. So let me know how you feel about unions. My problem with unions, they always want you to vote for Hillary Clinton. They want you to vote for the wrong side. Seems like, morally it would be hard to get behind them, but in the beginning the unions were they were necessary. I mean, that's an understatement. How they started out and what they did was really cool, but they've been known to bankrupt companies. It seems like unions look after the employees and they could care less about the employer. But on the flip side, the employer shouldn't be able to take advantage of their employees. So let me know what you think. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I've never been a union man, but let me know. I appreciate you guys in the comments. So thank you for being here. Have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Later.